Title: The Last Screening. In the quaint town of Blackwood, nestled between towering pines and often shrouded in mist, there was an old, forgotten theater called the Majestic. It had first opened its doors in the 1960s, showcasing films that captivated audiences with their charm and intensity. But as the years rolled by, the theater faded into obscurity, the ticket booth boarded up, and advertisements peeling off the walls. Rumor had it that the Majestic held secrets, unaired movies that were too frightening for audiences and thus locked away in its dusty projection room. 18-year-old Mia had always been drawn to the peculiar and eerie legends of Blackwood. With a group of her friends, Devin, Jamie, and Ethan, she often wandered through the dense woods surrounding their town, seeking adventure. One rainy afternoon, as thunder rumbled ominously overhead, Jamie suggested they explore the Majestic. The allure of hidden films was irresistible. The group clambered into Devin's rusted old car, excitement bubbling among them, unaware of the shadows lurking just beyond the flickering lights of their lanterns. As they approached the theater, the air turned thick with an unsettling silence, the cool breeze whispering secrets as it rustled the faded marquee. The last screening of the Majestic, it read, though no one had set foot inside the theater for years. With a shared glance that spoke of both trepidation and thrill, they pushed open the heavy door, the creaking sound sending shivers down their spines. Inside, the lobby was cloaked in musty darkness, the smell of mildew hanging in the air. Dust motes danced in the narrow beams of their flashlights as they made their way past the ticket counter, where faded movie posters hung like ghosts of the past. Then, they ventured deeper into the theater, their hearts thudding like the soundtrack of a horror film. "Let's find the projection room," Mia suggested. They navigated through the aisles of decaying seats, their whispers echoing against the aged walls. Soon, they stumbled across a door marked, "Projection Room, Authorized Personnel Only." Without a second thought, Jamie pushed it open, revealing a cramped room cluttered with old reels and broken equipment. A dust-covered projector loomed in the corner. "What's this?" Ethan exclaimed, lifting an old film reel, its label barely legible, "The Shadow Within." The others gathered to peer over his shoulder. "Is this one of those unaired movies?" Devin asked nervously. They decided to set it up, fueled by a mix of daring and curiosity. They found an old sheet to use as a screen, draping it over a rickety table. The projector whirred to life, casting flickering shadows against the walls as the reel began to spin. The film opened with dark, sweeping landscapes. Eerie music filled the room, enveloping them in an atmosphere that felt both thrilling and foreboding. As the story unfolded, they watched in horror as characters found themselves in life or death situations, pursued by a relentless entity that seemed to slip from the screen into their very souls. This was no ordinary film, it felt alive. As the tension mounted, strange occurrences began. The shadows in the corners of the room deepened, stretching and contorting as if they were trying to break free. The air turned frigid, and Mia felt a cold breath against her neck, sending a jolt of panic through her. "Did anyone else feel that?" she gasped, turning to her friends, who were equally as pale as the projector's light. Suddenly, the film flickered, distorting, the images twisting into grotesque versions of themselves. Faces dripping with shadows and screams that seemed to echo in the dusty air. The projector rattled violently. Chaos erupted as the lights flashed in and out. The room dimmed further, casting an oppressive darkness that made it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. "We have to stop this," Devin shouted, lunging towards the projector. But before he could reach it, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. They were trapped. Panic swept through the group as they pounded on the door, begging for it to open. The film continued, now showing their own terrified faces projected back at them, their expressions twisted with fear and despair. "It knows us," Ethan whimpered, backing away, but there was nowhere to run. The air grew thick, heavy with dread, as darkness seeped from the screen, wrapping around them like a vice. Shadows took on forms, figures that resembled the characters from the film. They reached out, fingers stretching towards the frightened group, pulling them closer to the screen. Mia, in a final act of desperation, grabbed the reel and yanked it from the projector. The images ceased abruptly, leaving the room in chilling silence. The shadows shrieked, faces contorted in fury, but with the projector silenced, they began to dissolve into the emptiness. Breathless and wide-eyed, The group burst through the door as it swung open, spilling them out into the night air. They ran without looking back, the horrors of the Majestic weighing heavily on their hearts. As they reached the safety of streetlights, the theater crumbled behind them, an echo of laughter and whispers fading into the distance. The abandoned building, still holding its secrets, welcomed back the darkness, sealing the unaired films within the shadows once more. Days passed, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmares of that night had not ended. The Majestic had left its mark, a chilling reminder that some stories were better left untold, lurking forever in the forgotten corners of an old theater, waiting for the next curious soul to discover their horrors.